on. Have we got sound now? There we go. Is that better? Now, as I was saying, I've got Jeremy out there in the green room. And is the sound coming through well now? It should be. It should be. If there isn't, I will be very embarrassed. Now, I think it should be coming. Plug at back of computer. I think it's all plugged in now. No sound. Good, good, good. Excellent. Sorry about that. As I said, but once normal audio returns, I will. Sound good now. Thank you, John. We can stop panicking. Now, what we're going to have a look at in the show, as I was saying, I've got Jeremy Carter up here from Dewalt, actually from Stanley Black & Decker. Stanley Black & Decker is the parent company that looks after Dewalt in all around the world and also in Australia. So Jeremy is the regional manager for New South Wales and Queensland. So very knowledgeable, but he did stress to me earlier that his is mostly a desk job. So some of the questions I ask him, he may struggle with a little bit, but overall he's got a pretty good understanding of what's happening. So we'll need to take it easy with him. Turn down the volume. Okay. I'll tell you what, maybe because you didn't hear the sound earlier, you might have turned the volume up. You might have to turn it down a little bit. All right. What do we got? What do we got? Do you know why the sound wasn't coming through? Because I have this switch on the program here that I can turn the sound off or back on. And it's something I've recently discovered, but I forgot to turn it back on again after last week's show. Because when I do the end of the show, I'll turn the sound off from this microphone, and so just the music comes through. Anyway, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. Tinkering the sound because of Dewalt in the building. Okay. Okay, so it's all working. Excellent. So what we've got, battery-powered tools, the Evolution Explained. So I have a couple of batteries behind me. You can see over here. And I've got a Ryobi and a couple of old Dewalt batteries. And we've got some new Dewalt batteries here. So this is something that, for curiosity, you know, if nothing else. And all of the tools that Jeremy's brought up with him today are able to be run on battery, 54 volt or 18. Pretty amazing stuff. Now, when I got to specify, they're backward compatible, not forward compatible, so the 18 volts can't run the 54 volt machines. But the 54 volt batteries can run the 18 volt machines. I think Jeremy will probably be in there nodding and saying, yeah, that was lucky. Glad he cleared that one up. Tissue box to find the center of a circle. And I'm going to do that pretty much right off the bat. And you're going to say, how the hell are you going to do that? A tissue box to find the center of the circle. Let's do that now. Let's do that now. Straight off. I'm going to switch over to CarlCam. Let me see if I've got it there. And transition. And I'm going to put microphone on a stick down there. Hopefully that's going to work. Now, there's a tissue box. There you go. I'm not going to say which company it's from, but there it is. How do we do it? That is a right angle, and that's all you need to know. So one of the things you will also need is a stick, a piece of straight wood. And to do this, I'll get a pen. If I've got one here, again, I haven't been very good in preparing. Here we go. Marking pen. If we set this up so that one corner of the box is touching the perimeter, or sorry, the circumference of the circle, and rotate it around so the other part of the right angle is touching there, I can put a mark there. I can put a mark here, and I'm going to use the stick to transfer that right angle right across to the other side there. Take the box off. I'm going to use the stick to join those two marks. There. See that? It's a bit glary, but I think you'll probably be able to see it. So I've got a line that way, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. Just put the tissue box down again, making sure it's touching the edge. put a mark there. And holding it still. Basically, I'm using the tissue box as a square. Going to join those two lines. That is the center of the circle. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Now, there's all sorts of other ways of doing it, but I thought after last week's show, you might be interested in seeing it. Basically, all I'm doing is using a square. Let's get rid of that. Basically, I'm using a square, touching the circumference, mark, and a mark. Spin it around. Same thing. Anyway, now I can tip it all the way over there. It's still going to work. Did you know that? There we go. We'll put a mark there and a mark there and join the two. And there's another one there, and I think that's all of them. So there you go. Very easy way to find the center of a circle. What's the next thing? How's the sound coming through? Can hardly hear me. Okay. If I bring it up closer there, can you hear me now? If I also raise the volume, okay, now be careful, I'm going to turn the volume up here on the monitor. So there we go. Is that any better, Wayne? Actually, I'm curious to see how that's going to be, because when Jeremy's in here, we should see what happens. Okay, Dave, you have blown my mind. I'm looking forward to what you're going to do with the tissue box next week. I'll be tuning in to find out. Dave, constructing an inscribed angle of a circle that is 90 degrees, so one of the chords must be the diameter of the circle. Excellent. There you go. There you go. There you go. Everything's good now. Sorry about all of the mucking around with the sound. What's the next thing that we're going to be having? I think the sound should be good. Excellent. Thanks, Wayne. All right. Say no to conditioner for your rags. Okay. Now, when I use rags down here, let me see if I can just switch the camera over again to this one. I use rags in the workshop all the time. So I try and have clean rags for if I'm cleaning off glue, or if I'm wiping something down, or I'm getting rid of dust off something that I'm sanding. I'll use a rag. Now, I don't want to use the rag once and throw it out. I normally use an old sheet. Let's close that. They keep on coming up down the bottom there. I'm going to have to work out how to fix that. So I'll use an old sheet. I tear it up, and there's only so many sheets. I feel guilty about throwing them out, so I throw them all in the washing machine. Now, only use detergent. Don't use a conditioner with it. Now, why don't you use a conditioner when you're cleaning the... I'm reading some of the comments. Why don't you use a conditioner? They contain silicon. Silicon is the enemy of any finish that you might want to apply to timber. So if you're wanting to put a shellac, or if you wanted to put just a wipe-on poly, or paint even, if you put silicon on timber, it's going to repel the finish. It seals it, and so that's not great. And as I say, conditioner does have silicon in it. I'm reading here again. Can you make the Padres box from a tissue box? See the movie Odd Angry Shot. The details. I have no idea. What's the next thing that we've got? Next week, I have a challenge. So this is something that I will do next week. See this chisel? It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? I'm going to make this look new. That's my plan. Now, this chisel was given to me by the store manager down at Carbotech in Sydney. I'm not going to say his name because he'd be too embarrassed. He said, "I've got a present for you, Dave." He found it in his backyard. From a project he was working on. How many times have you left a tool in the garden and found it with a lawnmower? I think that's how Steve found... Oh, mentioned his name. All right. And the last week's winner of the G6 eyemuffs, I will say later on in the show. Let me see. Support the channel through Patreon. And this week's great prize, make sure you enter, is the Dewalt trim router with the 2 bases. And very, very nice. It's the same one they use in X-Carve CNC machines, as a matter of fact. I already have one of the machines, and I use it. You probably have seen it in videos of mine. So I'm going to see if Jeremy's still in there. Let me have a look, see if he's there yet. Look, there he is. I'm going to... look, he's looking busy. I'm going to get him to come in here now, so I'd like you all to welcome him if you can. Come on, Jeremy, come in. Come on in. I'll switch the cameras around so that we go. So if you want to jump over on that side, and there we go. So this is Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
Dave?
That's a bit of a fake handshake because
Thanks
obviously he's been here an hour or so. But they do that on shows, so why not? And Jeremy, as I was saying, is the regional manager for New South Wales and Queensland for Stanley Black & Decker, but he's wearing his Dewalt gear today because he's going to show us some of the gear. Now, this is not a blatant ad for Dewalt. This is just for curiosity. Mostly it's about the batteries that are being offered at the moment, and to give some history on that, and some of the tools that you'll be surprised actually run on batteries, and one of them is an M-class dust extractor that runs on a 54-volt flex volt system. So let's have a look here. I think everything's going fine here. Everyone's waving and saying hello to you. They're clapping. Jeremy, first of all, do you want to tell me a little bit about the evolution of Dewalt batteries, any of the batteries? And
sure.
And as I say, these are batteries that a lot of you guys would be used to or in your machines. So this is what one's this? Is this a NiCad or
a NiCad?
A NiCad battery?
XRP, that's probably a lithium ion still.
Is it? Let me put my specs on. Let's read it. This is a... It's not going to tell me.
Not going to tell you.
It's not going to tell me. It might be a nickel metal hydride. It might be a NiCad. I don't know. It might be a lithium. But anyway, that's the old design where you'd stick this into the tool. It'd have that tang.
Sure.
And I'd like Jeremy to explain why they've gone from that model to something like these guys here now. Okay, go for it.
So it's more around the use you can get out of a cell. The battery cells and the connections.
Yep.
Originally, the battery tools are designed for tools with a handle, so with like a drill and those sorts of things, and that was fine.
So low draw tools.
Not just low draw tools. It was more a lot of it to do with the design of the tool. A lot of the tools that we've got there is actually nowhere to put the post.
Right.
It gives you a better connection with a slide-on battery, which is why all brands went the same way, and gives you more areas to be able to put the tool on. You can just put an attachment on the side where it just literally slides on. You can slide it on the top, on the back, on the front if you need to, or underneath. Whereas this, you're really limited to where you can physically.
So this is economizing on the size of the tool.
Absolutely, and because the more usage you get out of a cell, this is watt hours wise. That's a 36 watt hour battery. This is a 90 watt hour battery. So, and then right up to 230 something watt hours in a battery. So you're able to use a lot more battery power instead of quarter power.
Okay.
And better connection. So as that slides in, that's got a much better lock. And then you've got your pins in there, which determine, depending on which tool it is. There's a positive and negative, and then a couple of extra little ones in there, depending on the tool.
Okay, so two things there. You mentioned watt hour. Now, I haven't heard of the terminology watt hour. I've heard of the terminology amp hour.
Yep.
Is there some kind of... There would be a relationship between all those, because you've got watts, amps, volts, all work with each other.
Probably the only thing I didn't write down, Dave. I do. Watt hours is the amount of work the actual tool's doing.
Okay.
So it's, even when we're talking around amp hours, and you're absolutely correct, when you're looking at a flex volt battery, you're looking at this is the 6 amp battery. Dave's been using the 9 amp. When you're using a 6 amp battery, this one does go down to 2 amp when it's at 54 volts. However, overall, this is 108 watt hours.
Okay.
Of power. So that's the difference. So
right.
that watt hours is available.
Excellent. Okay. And the other question I was going to ask, which I have forgotten already because I do that. I explained to Jeremy earlier.
Is this the same question you forgot earlier?
This
or a different
could
question?
have been the same. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. Okay, look. Let's get some of the gear in here that that you've brought that will actually run on these different batteries. Or do you want to talk about the?
Let me just do
stuff?
one. You've been very close. I watched the show, and
Yep.
as people know, I comment on stuff on Facebook all the time. The simplest way to explain how FlexVolt works: all these batteries, the 5 amp and these ones, have 3 rows of cells. As that sits, that's an 18-volt battery, and it sits as an 18-volt battery with the 3 rows of cells running in parallel.
Yep.
When you slide it onto a FlexVolt tool has a little lug on it. That changes the battery switching to series.
That's the question I was going to ask you.
There you go. That's the difference.
I'll tell you.
It's as
You're a
simple
mind
as that.
reader. Unbelievable.
That's the most common thing I talk to people about at shows and events.
So there's a conversion lug in there. As soon as you slide that onto an XR machine with 54-volt
54-volt machine.
it will say, all right, we're going to give you 54 volts. All 3 rows of those cells are going to of 18 are going to now get switched into being 54 volts instead of 3 rows of 18.
It's a common misconception that it turns on and off cells.
Okay.
It's always using all 15 cells. It's just the way that they're wired up. So it's either parallel or series.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Brilliant. So I was nearly right.
Close. You were very close.
Excellent. All right. Guys, how is the sound coming through? All right. Okay, thanks for Respect Wood. I'm checking out that as well. Jeremy, you want to grab some
Work
stuff?
over time.
Yeah. Grab the dust extractor first. Why not? Let's jump in with that. This is an amazing thing, guys. Path chamfering tool not worth the money. Ask Facebook for why. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the chamfering tool. I'd much rather use a trimmer with a 45 degree and a bearing, and that's how I've done mine. All right, let me move this microphone on a stick over there, keyboard down there, and let's see what we've got. I'll move that out of the way. Now this, at the moment, I don't know about what it's like in other countries, but at the moment in Australia, everyone is trying to get onto the M series of dust extractors, the M class, I should say, not series. Now, Jeremy, can you explain to us why they've gone to M series instead of what seems to be the same kind of filtration? Is there any specific scare at the moment regarding, like, we had asbestos?
Sure.
Are there new scares like insulation?
Silicosis is going to be at the
That's
forefront
the new
of the entire industry. The new asbestos, I guess.
Okay, so it's an easy way of talking about it. Silicosis.
It's something that the industry, construction industry, the building industry is very, very aware of. In the US, a lot of people would have seen the OSHA compliance. Ourselves and many other power tool companies have been having to comply to that standard across the world for the past few years. So we are, it takes a little while to get things into Australia, but we're already using, I guess, not mandatory standards, but optional standards, where they're using M class as a base. So using HEPA filters, and an M class vac has to have a certain amount of features. So it has to have a separate compartment. So this vacuum runs a bag. It has to have cleanable filters, which this does. It pulses the filters and cleans them every 15 to 30 seconds. It has to have an audible alarm if it does get clogged for any particular reason. They're really the main ones. There are other things behind it, but the HEPA filter is not again, another misconception. HEPA is not a brand name like a Stanley knife or something like that.
Yep.
It stands for high efficiency particulate arresting, and a HEPA filter has to filter 99.97% of 0.3 micron and above of particles that pass through it. So that's the real the big one. So L class doesn't have the self-cleaning filters and the like. Or doesn't have to. It's a separate standard.
So L class can be HEPA or has to be HEPA?
No. L class is it's more about the features. It doesn't.
Okay.
I don't think it has to. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I was saying to you earlier, Jeremy, that my easy way of remembering what the different classes are is L for low, M for medium, H for high. These are the risk factors. Now, that's not what it is, but that's just a layman's way of remembering what they are.
H is a very interesting one because these filters self-clean. H H-class, the filters have to be disposable. You have to completely wipe them out when they get dirty and come back through, whereas these are cleanable.
Now that's something as well that this is an aside. People have said to me, "Oh, I got a really cheap dust extractor off eBay," and they're talking about something that might have been $1,000 ordinarily. They picked it up for about $400. And I said to them, I wouldn't buy it. And they say, well, why not? And I said, well, it may have been used for asbestos and it may not have been designed for that. And they're just getting rid of it. So this is something that I'm not saying to go out and buy the most expensive dust extractor you can find. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just be aware that these different classes are there for a reason. And if someone's used a machine for the wrong class, you're going to start exposing yourself to a little bit of a risk because it may have asbestos left over in it. Not this particular one, but I'm saying if you purchase something on eBay or anywhere online or out of a paper, just be wary of that. So this one here, being an M class and battery driven, it will take all of the FlexVolt batteries.
Correct.
It won't run on an 18-volt battery. No. So that's what I was saying earlier. These are backward compatible. I'm just going to shut that one again. These people are sending stuff off. Okay, so Zane, silicosis is now in the press because young people are being impacted from cutting engineered stone benchtops. Oh, that's an interesting point. Have you thought about that one, Jeremy?
I guess it's like anything. The more focus can be put on something, the quicker it can be fixed. So I'm sure there'll be a ribbon at some point or a day for silicosis.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue. We need to really be looking at.
I wonder when that's going to happen with ice cream. They're going to put out a warning about ice cream, and it's going to kill you.
It's too late for some of us, Dave. I've got to say.
I'm not a fan of ice cream, but obviously you don't mind a scoop or two. All right. Jeremy's never coming on the show again.
Katoomba, you just get normal cream and it turns to ice.
Yeah. It was pretty cold last night. Okay, so can you show us inside this one a little bit?
Sure.
Now, is this one available in Australia yet or not?
It is.
So there was a mad rush to try and get this up from Melbourne.
Yes.
For us to have a look at.
I told Dave it wasn't there, and then the truck showed up. So
that's brilliant. Okay, so you got the two filters.
And then the dust bag.
Okay, so let's flip that over so you can see inside there.
11 litre capacity.
Okay.
And a 2.5 metre hose.
Now, are these anti-static at all, like Festool's gear, or not?
Possibly.
I've sprung that one on you.
Possibly.
It's a possibly anti-static. Okay, there you go.
Could be.
Okay, and it's a 2.5 metre hose.
2.5 metre hose.
What is that, around about a 27 or 30 millimetre diameter internally?
30, I think.
30?
Yep.
Excellent.
And you've got the switch here as well to take it between the diameter of the tool or between 20 and 32 millimetre, depending on the amount of...
Have you got the little sensor that makes the beep beep? Okay, this is going to be a demonstration. I've asked Jeremy what the difference was. Also, I put a post in on Instagram last week. Festool put out their M series dust extractor, much as I guess all the companies are going to jump in and do it. And I asked the question, what's the difference between your standard and the M series? And it must be able to indicate if you've got a blockage, because it's no use having a dust extractor that does all this filtration if it's not actually sucking anymore. So Jeremy's going to do a demo on how this one works.
Yep.
And tell us all about it.
So it's radio frequency control. The purpose of having a cordless solution is because with FlexVolt we're able to create so many more cordless solutions. So in the construction industry, we're now talking about 8 kilo SDS Max hammers, so drilling 50 mil plus holes on construction sites. And
with a battery-driven drill.
With a battery-driven drill, giving you the same power and that portability.
2 inches through concrete.
100%. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So there's no point having that and then being tethered to a cord. You get rid of your generators, your boards, testing and tagging. It just gives you that complete portable solution. So,
okay.
Not a Bluetooth, but radio frequency control, so you don't have to pair it each time. You flip the switch, you can have it permanently on or have it so that you can set it up on the RF and you just turn it on.
Okay.
So you hear the filters cleaning themselves.
Yep, that's a reverse pulse.
That's important. So as I block this hole, it's pulling all the vacuum out.
There's your audible sound.
And that's telling me that there's a blockage.
Yeah. And that took around 20 odd seconds.
Yep.
And so
it's sucking all the vacuum that's out of there and through my beautiful porous skin.
Yep. Until the air is totally evacuated. Okay. And this lives on the hose.
It can live anywhere. So normally you would put it on the handle of your rotary hammer. So to give you an idea, a lot of the conversation around battery-driven tools is, how useful are they compared to 100% runtime plugged into cord. So it comes as a kit supplied with 6 amp batteries. You'll get about 16 minutes of runtime
For the dust extractor.
And the great thing that you're saving that precious seconds by having it on the tool, being able to turn it on and off as you drill the hole. It doesn't take very long to drill a hole. Or you'll get 24 minutes on the 9 amp battery.
So unlike Bluetooth, which turns on automatically with the tool, this one you have to turn on manually. So that would be living right beside the switch on the tool. So you click that with your thumb and away you go, and click it off at the end.
So with Bluetooth, a lot of them are linked to particular tools. So there's a couple of companies that have got them that are linked to the specific tool, but it's only those specific tools. So this could go on anyone's. You could have your own brand or whatever it is. You just hook the hose up to an adapter to your tool, and then that remote just runs perfectly.
Right. Okay, so have they thought, well, I don't know if you'd know whether Dewalt had thought about creating a Bluetooth battery.
Yes, we do a Bluetooth battery already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to why they didn't go down that path instead of the
Bluetooth
radio
battery is
frequency.
more about the accessibility of the battery. So you can check the health of the battery. You can check where the battery is. My battery I gave away to someone, otherwise I'd show you my app, but it actually tells me where I last turned it on.
All right.
If
someone stole your gear, you'd be able to find them.
It's more important than that. It's when people like me forget their stuff behind. You're packing up so much gear and you leave something behind. I'll leave a driveway of a store and
you might leave a few things here when you go, Joe.
There'll be a couple of things. My phone will go beep beep and say, hey, you've left your batteries behind, so you turn around and go back and get it.
That's a cool idea.
You can lend the battery to someone, and you can say, Dave, I'm going to give you this thing for 2 weeks and no more, and I can log in the time, the 2 weeks, and then you ignore all my phone calls for 3 weeks, but you'll find after 2 weeks that battery won't work anymore.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So
that's amazing. So it'll shut it down as well.
Shuts it down as well. So for a school situation, for like a Q master situation, someone who's got the job of handing out the tools. Yeah. I know back at the teachers' college, when you're borrowing tools, you've got to leave your card or your license or something behind, and then you pick that up, and when you get the tool back. This actually will keep a log of who's got what and where it is, and you can turn it on and off at any time.
You lost me, Jeremy. It sounds all very involved.
It's amazing.
Let's have a look at some of the other gear. Look, that's fantastic. 16 minutes continuous runtime on that one, you were saying. Yep. And that's with a 6 amp hour.
6 amp hour.
And they do a 9 and a 12 now.
Yep.
So the 12, you got the 12 there?
12 is here.
Let's have a look at this thing. So that would give me half an hour runtime on the battery if I'm just working the sums.
Yep.
So, and that's actual drilling. Now, I know that the 9 amp hour takes about an hour and 15 minutes for a recharge. This would take, an hour and a half, possibly, maybe a little bit more?
The 12, yeah. So we're about to launch an 8 amp. So the 9 amp
charger
takes about 75 minutes. This will take about 100 minutes.
Yeah.
Roughly on the fast charge.
Okay.
So with the 6 amp, it will take you an hour.
Okay. And I have heard some people say that you're probably 80% charge within, a very, very short
the first
time.
20 minutes, yeah.
And
you're
then the rest of it's just trickling it in.
Yeah.
So does that damage the battery at all if I was to pull it out early and throw it in,
yes.
being a lithium ion?
Yeah.
I thought lithium ions had no memory, much like me.
There's no and then almost no. So it's not ideal. So you'll find you'll start to get a bit of reduced life out of it.
Okay, so it's always best to leave it in the charger until it's finished.
That's the other thing the Bluetooth battery does. It actually sends you an alert to tell you that the battery's charged.
That's amazing.
Very fancy.
That is amazing. Much of a difference in the dollars for the Bluetooth battery in comparison to the ordinary ones?
It's about $20. That's only available in the 5 amp battery.
Okay.
And the 2 amp, as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In the 8 amp.
Let's have a look at some more of the gear. Guys, if you've got any questions that you want to ask Jeremy as well as we're going along, chip actions and where is Barry? Well, he's not here. Where you press the button, also the smoke alarm scared the hell out of your sleeping partner. Brian, how much is the price on the VAC? What's the dollars on the VAC that we had someone ask?
The VAC is, as a kit with the two 6 amp batteries, you're looking at $899.
Okay.
And $549 if
As a
you've already got the batteries. 49.
549. And it's an M class and 11 litres.
Yes.
Can it run like the drop saw? Can it run on a mains
No.
converter?
No.
Is that something that is totally out of the question, or,
Yes.
or might? Okay, so they'll never do that.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
You don't need to. That's the whole point.
Yep.
24 minutes of drilling.
You need to buy
actual
more
drilling
batteries.
time.
That's what you need to do.
24 minutes of actual drilling time is
Yep.
a long time.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Your arm will get sore by then.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. What have we got? What have we got here?
Okay. So the power of the FlexVault lets us also do things like a wet saw. Let me bring that back here.
Yep.
That way, going backwards.
Okay.
In the concrete cut saw, which is a pretty exciting tool. This has been a lot of fun. You can see this one actually gets used a lot. It's a little bit dirty. Water fed. You can put a steel blade on it as well for cutting through your reinforcing mesh and those sorts of things.
But the blade on it that you've got on there will go through steel set in concrete. It will go through Rio in concrete
through the
already.
Rio as well.
Yep.
Yep. You put your water attachment on the back,
Yep.
and you can use a pump up bottle to give you a portable solution. We're getting to a point now where fuel storage is becoming a huge issue. So for councils, electricity companies, any sort of government departments, they actually have to keep logs of their fuel.
Yes.
They're down to the last few tools they need. So you would normally need a petrol saw, things like the trimmer that they will show over the next few weeks, where you're really only getting that power out of petrol. We're now able to get that power out of batteries, which means there's less reliance on the fuel side of things.
Okay.
So less storage issues, less EH&S issues.
So this has got a waterproof compartment for the battery to live in.
Yes. In there.
Lives down in there, and that'll take the 12 amp hour
I'll take
battery.
12 amp hour as well.
And I'll show you, guys. I've got a little bit of video here. I'm going to show you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's.
Give me a second. And
This guy should have the water plugged in, but he doesn't.
he didn't have the water plugged in, but this is pretty interesting. Watch this. I think it's only gone the one time. Let's get out of... Nope, he's nearly finished. As Jeremy was saying, that's a lot of dust. But we'll come back to us. That's a lot of dust, but it should have been used as a water-fed saw.
Yeah.
But, yeah, fair enough. Now that stops pretty quick. I reckon about 2 seconds when Jeremy took his finger off the trigger.
Great for tiles, for paving, those sorts of things,
Yeah.
for driveway chasing. It's got 83mm depth of cut, and a lot of the way you don't always need to go all the way through. So as long as you're through the Rio, you can put a breaker in and snap it off anyway.
Yeah. Now the reason they do that with driveways, instead of using expansion joints, so that if there is a crack going to develop, it will develop in a regular pattern,
Yep.
rather than just some crazy kind of snake-like branch of a tree going across your drive.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay, so that's that one. What else have we got?
So again, FlexVault was designed to get rid of cords off a job site.
Yep.
And what we do is I've got the other saw over there as well, which is
Grab
our
it.
first FlexVault saw.
Grab it, grab it, grab it.
And this wasn't about people changing battery platforms. That was the important thing. A lot of people I speak to have already got a different brand.
Yep.
These are the tools you grab when your current tool doesn't do the job. So the grinder that we've got, 18-volt grinders are around about 450 to 550 watts equivalent. The FlexVault grinder is equivalent to about 1500 plus watts. So it gives you a huge amount of
2 horse.
power difference.
Yeah.
So this was our saw that we first launched.
I got a little one up there.
I'll give you a race if you like, but I don't want to use yours.
I can't cut 4 foot with that one.
So it's actually a lot of fun for us.
Yeah.
When we're doing trade shows and demonstrations, we cut through a triple stack of yellow tongue chipboard in this.
Yep.
And I ask people to have a go, and they use it like their normal circular saw. They're very gentle and don't want to lock it up, and then I go like this.
Yep.
Straight through without any problems.
Depending on what kind of blade's in there as well.
Yeah, well, it's the standard blade. So
Now with the battery tools, I know other brands supply a thinner kerf blade.
which we have here as well.
You do that as well, just to take the load off the
Correct.
battery,
Yeah,
so
gives
that
you
it
a
can
really
last
nice
longer.
cut,
Yeah. What's this one?
So this is what most people know as a worm drive saw.
Yes.
We call it a worm drive style saw.
Okay.
Which is a rear handle saw, so for your framing and docking and things like that. This is a 2400 watt equivalent, so 3
horsepower.
So similar to your 9 1/4 saw. So this is an amazing saw.
How does it get that power? Is it the same motor basically, or
No, it's a completely redesigned motor.
okay?
Yeah. So the whole point of this was not just to put more power into the same sort of battery. It's about to actually work the complete efficiency. So this was a team, we called it at SBD, called it the Special Forces, who were sent away.
SBD is
Stanley Black & Decker. Sorry.
not silent but deadly. It's Stanley
Black & Decker. Sorry.
Okay.
Breaking my own rules using acronyms.
Okay.
So they were sent away to find a way to get rid of fuel and cords on a job site. That was their whole job. It took them 2 years to come up with this, and the original launch was a couple of years ago.
Right.
There was a lot of hurdles to overcome. So this battery, as it sits, is technically it's 216. This one, sorry, is 182 watt hours. That's class 9 dangerous goods, which means you can't travel with it and you can't freight it anywhere. So
Right.
they came up with something super simple, which is the little shipping cap here. So we had actually had the bigger one at Uluru a couple of weeks ago for a conference.
Yep.
You slide that on, so it's really easy to see. If I show you there, the little black lugs there, that's the manual switch. So the tools have the
So
little
there?
lugs. No, this one here.
Down the front. Okay.
There's 2 here.
Yep. Oh, that's your lock.
That's the lock.
Yep.
So that's just your lock.
Yes.
So this is the shipping cap, and you'll see the lugs aren't very long. It's not too bad there.
Those lugs there.
Those lugs there.
Yep.
So when I slide that on, that actually separates the cells. It puts the switch in the halfway point. So this is now 3 lots of 54 watt hours instead of 1 lot of 182.
And so that's able to
So
go
it's
on an
less than
aeroplane
class
if you
9
need to.
dangerous goods. You can take
Yep.
2 of these and you carry on luggage.
And also, when you say dangerous goods, that also, I know from working with Carbotech, we can't ship some things because
Correct.
it's hazardous
Yep.
goods. Is it hazardous and dangerous similar?
There's a lot of different variations of,
Okay.
of dangerous goods. So
Okay, so they'd be able to go through the mail.
absolutely.
Not
Yeah,
a
you can
problem.
freight these, no problems
Yeah.
at all.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just one of that was the thought behind
Little interesting things.
Yeah, breaking away all the issues.
Yep.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
What else we got? I think there's a jigsaw over there.
there is. So
Hold on, I'll move that.
out of the way. I think this might be the only one in Australia.
There you go. The only jigsaw in Australia. I think there's other jigsaws here, but this is a particular one that Jeremy's going to show. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading. Okay, there's a question here from Lost Wits. Battery-powered water weed sprayer. Milwaukee have one.
Haven't seen one yet.
Have you got a photo of one there, Lost Wits? And send it in to me. I'd like to have a look at it.
I think I might have seen the original sample of the Milwaukee one.
Yeah.
Let me just say, not because they're going to be watching this afterwards, but our marketing department, the product development managers, the guys who bring this in, a very good looking guy also named Jeremy, who gets confused with me all the time.
Yes. Of course.
The work that we... there can be only one.
Yeah.
They have to juggle a lot of priorities.
Yes.
We have a huge amount of products coming from the Europe and the US, which is a much, much bigger market than Australia. So we have to balance what we can actually bring in
Yes.
and put into the market at one time. So the choices they make are tough. They're really, really tough.
Yes.
So there's some products that we'd love to do here that there's just not...
The market won't
there's
support
not a
it?
huge, not a huge amount of market for.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so it is a tough thing. There's only so many things we can do at one time, but the development we put through and the work that we're doing here is really incredible.
Excellent.
From their side, from me to them, from the market to them.
Is there an adapter to use new batteries on old tools like Makita has?
So there is a battery adapter. Now, remembering that the tools in the US, the powered tools are 110 volt. Their cordless tools aren't as detailed as ours, so we've got a lot of different electrical lockouts and things in them as well. There is an adapter a lot of people seen, which is the push, the nano style.
Takes these
nano
batteries.
style,
Yep.
which will take the slide-on battery. What we found is if you use any more than a 2 amp battery, you're putting your old tools through hell. It'd be
Okay.
like asking you to run a marathon, Dave.
Ah.
I'm sure you could start.
I could do too. Yeah, well, I'm asleep. Not a
Yeah.
problem.
So we were just worried about the durability of the
Okay.
ongoing tools. So these batteries are still readily available. So there's
Yep.
a huge amount of the tools that you've got on the wall still out in the market,
Yep.
and we sell a huge amount of these.
So you still supply that type, and there's
Absolutely.
aftermarket batteries companies will
As you
also
showed, yeah,
supply.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
Vannon, I think, do it.
Yep.
Yep. So, but I tend to try and stick with the company that actually make them because I found that they actually work a little bit better.
Well, we want them to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That'd be terrible for you.
Yeah.
Okay, another quick question. US have so many great Dewalt stuff, but not available in Australia. It sucks, and huge price differences as well.
Darren, that's exactly what I was talking about. That's one of the issues. We've only got a limited size market here, so we do have to make the choices on the products that are available. A lot of them aren't compatible with even the accessories that we would like. So
Yeah.
the grease gun is a common conversation in our office,
Okay.
because the American grease cartridge is a different size to ours.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, that is interesting. So it's not just voltage. It's but even though a lot of people in the States have got availability of a 240 volt outlet in their house if they want them.
Yep.
But it's just the normal is 110.
110, yeah.
Okay. What else have we got here? I think that's pretty much all. Where can you buy the early batteries? Peter wants to know.
Any tool specialist, anyone who sells DeWalt can order them in, no problems at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they can't,
so-
tell them I said they can. 'Cause
Okay.
They can. They
I
absolutely can.
I just as an aside, I get mine from Gasweld, so I'm not giving them a rap.
Yep.
That's where I've bought mine before, and you know, because as I say, I've got a fair bit of gear up there, and I don't want to throw it away because it still works. You know,
That's right.
and that's the same thing with. That's one of the questions why I was asking Jeremy earlier about the different shapes of the batteries, and I was really annoyed when they changed the battery shape because I was thinking, oh, it's going to stuff up all the gear. I've got to get rid of it. I've got to buy new gear. And then when he explained to me the different shapes of the tools, that the batteries just aren't going to fit in there, and the slide-on battery is going to be a better style, it all made sense to me. Ken, you buy any tools from the US and bring them back home, is there a way the plug can be changed? That's an interesting question. I'm sure it's on the back of everyone's
I'm
mind.
going to officially say no.
Okay. No, sorry, Ken. That's the
I wouldn't-
official.
I wouldn't suggest it.
But can I ask if someone was to buy not just a corded machine, but if they were to buy a battery machine, surely a battery machine, is that going to be the same in Australia as it is in the States?
Okay, and I'm sure there's another question around there. So we call our tools 18 volt.
Yes.
In the US, they're called 20 volt max.
That's the next question I wanted to ask you. Thanks for reminding me that,
And
Jeremy.
then the flex volt battery is not 54 volts, it's 60 volt max. So any battery, when you plug it in, will automatically spike and then drop back down. They call these tools in the US, the tools that Dave's got on the wall here, that's what they call their 18 volt. And then to avoid the confusion, they call these 18 volt.
And the next
these
one's up to 20.
And they always say 20 volt max, and then 60 volt.
Is there any difference between the voltages coming out? Or you say it spikes,
It spikes.
so it will still work.
So a 12 volt battery is actually 10.8 volts
Okay.
as far as the way it runs. So my
Right,
understanding
because the
around
three cells.
the question around bringing overseas tools, the 20 volt max tools here, to meet compliance in Australia, we have to do different things to the electrical componentry
Okay.
and the like to make them safer for use. So people do it.
So that would be at your risk.
Yeah, it's not very common.
Okay. Yeah, and the other thing is, I guess warranty is probably null and void.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's the same with a lot of different tool companies.
Yeah.
Yes, Australia being an island and we're isolated from a lot of places, it's probably best to stick with the local dealer. And I'm not saying that because I work for a local dealer. I'm just saying it from my experience. I've looked at stuff online, and yeah, should I buy it overseas and get it in here, or should I buy from local? Because you can buy online locally here as well. And I've just found that I've been happier overall getting it from a supplier in Australia or online from Australia. And then there's always that niggling doubt in the back of your mind as the questions are coming through.
Sure.
Okay, so you would need a converter. Any time on the cordless router for US?
Look, I'm pretty sure it's already there. I'm not too in depth over there because we wouldn't ever get that stuff first, and ours will be here around May.
So this is the cordless trimmer router
Correct.
or
Yeah,
full
cordless
on?
trim.
Okay, so that's coming. It's coming. So
Yeah, so ours will be here very shortly.
in May.
Yeah.
So
with,
this
with an 18-volt random orbital sander as well, and our own range of mesh pads and all the fun stuff that goes with that too.
okay, that all sounds very interesting. It is a great big island. Yeah, so
Not much in the middle.
Louis made a comment there. You would need a converter. So
Yes.
a lot of people that have bought, say, some people were thinking about buying a Domino 500, Festool Domino 500 from the States because it's a whole lot cheaper, 110, and to buy a converter that would convert, transform from 110 up to 240 volts. But I was looking at the cost of those, and they're not cheap. And also they're bulky, and do you want to carry all that gear around with you as well? So I don't know if anyone's doing that anymore, or whether they're just, it's easier to get the 240 volt.
Yeah.
Okay, so show me this jigsaw.
So as we've been going through our own evolution on the 18-volt range, which is we're up to 140 plus tools right now.
You're competing with Ryobi there almost.
A lot of our products we haven't been brushless over the time.
Yep.
On our own testing, the power output's been absolutely phenomenal just in the brush tools. So,
Yep.
but the market's speaking, and there's new product development as well. So, our old jigsaw, which I personally own, is a fantastic cordless jigsaw.
Is that
No, I've got the
that one over there?
slide
All
on.
right.
Actually, very similar to that. Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very similar to that.
Yes.
I think they call it the Zodiac.
Has it got a blower?
It does.
Yep.
Yep. It's got the blower.
Excellent.
So we're bringing out a brushless top handle saw, but along with that is the barrel jigsaw. So these aren't available. This is actually a European sample that my good friend Jeremy's
The handsome
allowed me
one.
to take away. The handsome one.
Yeah.
Most of his face is covered by this giant beard, so it's hard to say.
Dear. Seems to be the trend these
But give me a
days.
go at this, particularly to show yourselves. So
Yep.
this will be here late in May. So a lot of our products are, yes, they're available to order in April. They're due to us sort of end of April, somewhere before June essentially.
So you're saying this one, it's got a removable dust extraction system
Removable dust extraction. So you've got your little guard here,
at the front.
and you slide that out there, and then you've got a very nice little.
And what size is this battery again, Jeremy?
That's a 2 amp.
A 2 amp hour battery.
Yep.
Can you believe the size of that?
So that's a single row of cells. Dave questioned me about this. I actually use 2 amp hour batteries all the time in my workflow. So in the finish nailers, multi-tools, and small use tools that I'm just going to do a little job with. So there's no blade in that, so I'm not going to cut it close. Got really nice LED lights in
Yep.
there as well. You've got the oscillating
pendulum?
pendulum.
Yep.
And your blower in the front there.
Right.
And that will angle. Sorry, I'm checking my notes. So you get 55 millimeters cut at 90 degrees, and it'll go to 47 degrees. So
And is it the same blade locking pattern inside as any standard?
yes,
Okay, so for companies that sell blades that go to 6 inches deep,
yep,
you'd be able to throw that in there. Sure.
absolutely, yep. So you just
Yep.
move over the front, tool-free blade change.
Excellent.
Drop it in, away you go.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's waiting a lot for this because this has been a good request. It fits really nice in your hand.
Yep.
That's really the point.
I prefer the barrel shape to the one that's got the handle on the top.
Yep.
Now, I've asked questions of people, why the one with the handle on the top? And they've said because for when you're doing underbench work, if you've got the machine underneath
Yep.
a bench, it's easier to hold that rather than the barrel, because the back of your hand can actually pull the saw back a little bit and help you steer it, rather than just trying to hold onto the barrel and possibly rocking around a little bit. What else have we got, Jeremy? That's great. Thank you so much for bringing that up. 5, maybe even 3 or 4 minutes of looking at that, and the amount of work and effort that Jeremy's gone to get that up here to show us is unbelievable. Like he's stressing about it. Look at this. Cordless plane. This is an XR, so is this a 54 or an 18 volt, the plane? 18 volt.
XR is just our.
So you've got flex volt.
Extended runtime.
Okay, XR is your 18s, and the flex volt is your 54s.
XR flex volt.
XR flex volt. Okay, just to confuse me. That's great. Look at this. I should open a store. Look at
So
this.
15 gauge finish nailer. The 16 gauge is.
This is a 15 gauge finish nailer, so that's. The
So that's
gauge is a funny thing, isn't
that's
it?
your DA bradder. So very much for confined spaces. You've got a very narrow tip. If you look at the difference here between the two, You can see. Is there a good way of showing that?
Not really. They'll believe you.
On my black.
Okay,
on
so
my
it's got a
black
very
shirt.
narrow tip there.
Very narrow tip. So when you're looking at a very very tight spaces, you can really clearly see where that's coming through. So
that'd be
really
great
for
for
confined spaces.
That'd be great for getting into a corner, say the top of a door jamb, if you wanted to get a nail in to get a fixing up the top there, where you can't get any other thing in. Also, a three-dimensional pocket, like going right into a corner, not just a 90 degree, but a 90 degree, and also flat. I'm having a hell of a time trying to explain that one, aren't I? But that's the only problem I've got with my guns, is that they're a 90 degree cartridge, a 90 degree set nails. I used to use Senkos all the time.
Yep.
And that had around about a 30 degree angle. You were saying these are around a 20?
So this one's a 20.
Yes.
Similar to the Puzzlo.
Yep.
But these are all no gas as well. So there's no gas. It's just purely battery power.
Yep.
I'll show you quickly on the framing gun how it works. But
yes,
these have got bump fire mode and single shot mode.
Yes.
So that's a proper second.
And you were saying that little 2 amp hour battery will do a full
pretty
cottage
much
fix out.
All your skirting boards, yeah.
That's
Pretty
cool.
This is the narrow crown stapler, so really good for large sheet materials as you're banging stuff. So if you're doing the back of a cabinet, for example,
yes,
those sorts of things, that's really really great. And then the big one is this is our 3rd generation now.
So this is a framing gun?
The framing gun, so no gas. So the way this works is actually a flywheel that when you
up,
when you hear it spool up,
bang.
I've got the battery in it. It's got no charge on it, obviously.
Yep. What size nails you got in there?
So they're 75s.
There you go. Piece of timber. Give us a demo. Hold it so that you fire down off the outside there. So turn it around that way and fire straight down there.
Sure. So this is bump fire mode.
That'll do you. You'll know. I told you. You just shot it to my bench. It's all right.
It was buried a bit deep, that one.
Yep. Okay.
And then you've got single shot mode, which relies, I won't pull the trigger, but relies on you pressing the button.
So that was really quick. That's a whole lot quicker than my gas gun. Now, just to prove that the nails were shot in there, there's the top, and there's the nails that came out, and one of them went into my bench. Good on you. Thank you. It's all right.
And you've got depth adjustment on there.
Yep.
So the beautiful thing with this is if you do get a firing pin jam, that's how you clear the firing pin, just that little lever there.
Yeah.
And you've got a couple of lights that show, it's now on the front, to tell you when you've got a stall. It'll flash and let you know what's actually going on. And that also lets you know for servicing how many nails you fired.
Okay. So
you pull the trigger and it'll flash for every 1,000 nails. So this tool is fantastic because you don't need to send it away to get serviced. You undo the screws on the side. There's one there and one on there.
Yep.
There's a hex key that comes with that.
Yep.
Slide the back out. You change the springs and the rubber over, put it all back together. We're down to about 7 minutes, I think, is our best time.
Right.
When we're bored.
Yep.
Any apprentice can do it in about 15. So.
Yep. Okay, so how many nails would I fire prior to needing to service the thing?
That's a good one.
You don't have to answer that.
I could tell you. It's I honestly forget off the top of my head. It was around this. Yeah, I'm not going to make it up. I'll come back to you. It
is not a bench. This is a piece of fine furniture. Come on, stop that.
That's why they invented putty, Dave.
Yeah. I'm going to have a little cry. No, it's all right. It's all good.
Did you want to switch for the miter saw?
How about I switch the camera to out there and we can have a look. So I'm going to switch the camera from here to out in the garage and we'll have a look from out there. So I'm not going to be... Yeah, there was the question, what size pins? Will it do 90mm pins on that?
Yes.
Excellent.
It'll follow 9mm nails into treated point.
I'm guessing everyone can still hear me. I'm hoping so. Look, here we are out in the garage. All right, so we've got the, compound miter saw.
Flex Volt, 12-inch sliding compound miter saw.
Yep.
So our DWS 780 is one of the most popular miter saws on the market. This is a DHS 780.
The difference being?
It's the battery.
The battery, okay. So here's the battery packs here. So this is 112, is it?
108.
108
so
volt.
54.
Right, so it's two 54 volt batteries. So in the States, it'll be 60 and 60, 120.
Correct, 120, yeah.
Okay, getting my head around all of that. So you can use it as battery, or you've got the adapter here that'll slide straight in instead of the battery, and then it's mains powered.
Correct. And this is, it's got as much power and as much kick
Yep.
as any 12-inch saw.
So it's a 12-inch sliding compound miter saw.
Correct.
And runtime, I don't know. That's an interesting question on this, isn't it? So if I was to put those in and start cutting noggins up, for instance.
So 100 by 100 pressure treated pine, you'll get
Yes.
161 cuts.
Okay. So I would get around 300 cuts of 4x2.
Roughly, yeah.
So for you guys in the States, we call 2x4s 4x2s. Or now we call them 90 by 45s.
Yeah.
That's metrification. Alrighty. And the stand that's on is a shorter stand than the one that I've got. And I've noticed this roller thing on the end here. That's something that I haven't seen. That looks.
It's an optional extra.
That's just an option, and it'll go straight onto the
It
standard
just bolts straight.
tops that I've already got on mine.
Yep.
Brilliant. And you were saying you can put your thicknesser on top of this.
Yeah, so the stand comes just with these brackets. So
Yep.
you get the stand and the brackets and the other ends.
Yep.
I've actually got my thicknesser bolted to this, and it's just that perfect height to be feeding material through. There's not too many tools you can't
So
put on a stand.
You could put any thicknesser. I could put a Carbotech thicknesser on this.
As long
I
as
could
the
put a
holes,
Dewalt thicknesser.
as long as you've got access for the hole. So this is you've got a shorter space at the front here,
Yep.
and you've got a long gap there. So it gives you that variability.
So they haven't locked other companies out.
No, absolutely not.
That's a great
No.
idea.
You'll see more of our stand on job sites because it's such a great stand with other people's saws on it.
Yep.
Well,
Well, I put my Capex on mine.
Yeah.
And it works great.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got out here, Jeremy? Got a light.
Got a new light.
Okay.
So this will go up to 2.2 meters.
Okay. Turn him around. Let's see if we can see it. Okay, turn her on. And you were saying this is a 3,000
3,000 lumens.
lumens and how many Kelvin?
3,500.
3,500 Kelvin. Okay.
And
And
that can drop right down. And you can have it as a focused.
you can
as a
rotate it.
focused light. You can
up.
spin it around 200 degrees. You can
Yep.
have it pointing up in the air. Great for spaces where you don't have power.
Yep.
And the majority of our tradies use it camping.
Okay, this one got me. I love it. Okay, we might take this over there a little bit closer so people can see it. I'm just going to go out here and check that we've still got sound coming through because everyone's going to tell me. Okay, flex volt. A little bigger and use it as a. Yes, you can still hear. Excellent. You like the roller? The miter saw stand could do with an adjustable leg. There's a question for you, Jeremy. The miter saw stand could do with an adjustable leg. Is that something you consider, or do you reckon there's enough flex in the top of the whole thing to work?
It's, you want to keep it as simple as possible.
Yep.
These things get left on people's roof racks. They get left outside all the time.
Yep.
There's more of these that are whitish than yellow these days
Yeah.
that we see out there. You want to keep it as really simple as possible.
Yep. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over to this. I'll come over here because I think you can see me then. All right. Whoa. Geez.
So that's 5,000 lumens.
Yes. Yeah. Show us the sexy hook.
So then you've got a hook that you can hang it from a rafter, from a beam, from anywhere you can put a
Yeah.
screw up there.
Or in your tent if you go
In your
camping.
tent if you go camping. This will wake you up. Play some great games of 500 out in the middle of the bush.
You could indeed.
You've got a couple of tripod spots as well. So
Okay.
both sizes of the tripod. So if you've got a laser tripod or a camera tripod, you can use and mount it up as well. So coming soon, you'll also have our tool connect app, which you can hook this on and turn this off so don't blind
Yep.
everyone. You can hook this up to Bluetooth, and if you've got multiple of them, if you're working in a site somewhere where you don't have space or you're out having a party, you can turn them all on and off through your phone.
Okay.
Similar to the Bluetooth battery.
18 volt XR
Yes,
will take the 54
correct.
flex volt.
Yep.
And how long, do you know how long it'll stay turned on for?
Runtime, I'm not 100% sure on this one. I've got the stats on that one over there, but this is only brand new.
Are they available in
Yes,
Australia
they're
yet?
available right now. Yep.
Kind of dollars?
$3.99 as a bare unit.
As a bare unit. And then everyone's going with these kind of batteries. You can't put an 18 volt battery in it. It must
Yes.
be a flex volt.
No, you
Oh,
can
sorry,
put
it is an 18 volt, of
no,
course.
it's an
Yeah,
18
yeah.
volt tool,
Yep,
Yep.
yeah. I'm taking a while to get
Yep.
around the head around
That's
this.
okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's not about just upgrading tools for the sake of it. So there'll never be a flex volt drill because it doesn't need the additional power. It's only for tools where it goes beyond what an 18 volt tool can do, and you need to grab a cord to get to the next level.
Apart from the SDS drill.
No, the SDS will do bigger holes and more often.
But it's an 18 volt or a 54?
That's 54, but we do an 18 volt version as well. But the 54 volt will give you that longer run time, allowing you to run onboard VACs, and then it goes up to SDS Max and the like as well.
All right. What else we got? So we got the saw. No, I think there's a couple of... You've got the SDS drill there, and you've got a brush cutter.
The brush cutter Dave's going to be doing some work with. So.
Jeremy's going to leave this brush cutter here with me for a couple of weeks because I've got a little bit of tidying up to do, and I actually asked him for it.
This one's been very much used, and particularly at my house.
Okay. Now tell me about the runtime on this, because people are going to say, well, a battery charged brush cutter isn't going to last too long.
Okay, so this, as I was saying earlier, the people like the electricity companies need to have a petrol brush cutter to go around the poles as they're clearing for termites and the like, because they need to use the blades. So this has got 3 blades on it. A normal line trimmer will use line, and this will come with that as well as a kit.
Yeah.
But this one runs the blade. So I used this at my place when the temporary fence came down when I built, and I set my stopwatch. My poor wife was using the push mower, and she was well and truly finished before I was. So I got 48 minutes off my stopwatch of cutting a metre swathe through grass and dirt that hadn't been touched in 12 months.
Builder's junk and stuff. Yep.
Builder's junk. The only time it stopped was when it hit half a brick.
Yep.
I actually left marks on the treaded pine fence along one side. We've got an easement creek type thing down the back, so I did slash the whole lot of that.
Yes.
I ended up doing the neighbours as well because I was running out of space to do. So for 46 minutes is the official time. I got 48 out of one charge.
And which battery did you have in it?
The 9 amp.
The 9 amp.
It comes as 9 amp with a kit.
Okay.
And this is a commercial grade, so things like this is all set up for me, so you'll have to adjust it. But
I rarely wear those things.
for EH&S purposes,
Yeah.
just clip this one on when it come out of the car.
Okay, we can't say don't put that on.
No, but for the commercial guys, right?
Yeah.
So you set the handle at the right level for you.
Yes.
And this is your knee guard. So when you're moving, you're actually moving your knee. You're not twisting your back.
Right.
So
Okay.
when you're using it properly.
Well, there's something I learned straight away.
Yeah. So you can adjust the handle
Yeah.
for whatever comfort for your own height, and then the knee guard as well. So that and it's basically just sitting there.
Lovely.
So without too much pressure. But
All right.
yeah, I'm sure you'll have some fun with this one.
Jeremy, we've run out of time, buddy.
Yeah.
I think that's
Perfect.
about it. We've got the SDS drill over there as well, but look, if you want to, I'm going to switch the cameras back again. Have you got a Dewalt green rotary laser for show? There was a question.
Not for show, but we do have one.
Let me switch the cameras over again. And just quickly, guys, if you've got any questions that you want to ask Jeremy, do it now, because I'm going to. We're already 7 minutes over time, and Jeremy might be able to answer it for you. I'm going to read down through here.
I'll do my absolute best.
Okay, 2 hour show. The plus on cordless over the gas powered is that when you release the trigger, it isn't using and power with the gas it still is consuming.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. A lot of people lean on the tool while they're talking to their friends, and that's actually releasing about 20 shots of gas each time.
The problem with the gas for me is that I will, with my PAS load, I'll use it on a job, and then by the time I've come back, the gas never seems to be right in the cartridge or in the machine.
They've got expiry dates.
The battery was a NiCad battery, and it just had memory loss all over the place, and I was trying to see what I could get for it. But having a look at that framing gun, if I need to do some more framing down the track, well, I might look at getting one of those. I'm not on the tools as much anymore, so for me it's not that much of an issue. But for someone who is framing, how many shots do you reckon you'd get out of that?
It's a lot. It is a lot.
That's the official.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. Great show, Dewalt Thanks to Dewalt for the demo. There you go. That's to Jeremy.
No problems.
This has been a fantastic show today, and thank you, Jeremy. Dewalt needs universal dust collection ports. Too many different shapes appearing. What's your comment on that?
So all of our dust collection ports are on our airlock system, but we do have a whole heap of adapters that will bolt into any tool, and there's always PVC and super glue and creativity.
Okay,
Duct tape works
so
great.
going forward, your airlock system will be the standard.
Yeah, so the airlock locks into all the tools, so it's easy to mould that one grip.
Yep.
It's our standard. Every company will have its own, but there's always extra adapters.
Tell me about the airlock. Well, a couple of seconds we'll go over. Tell me about the airlock.
It's just a ball bearing lock, so when you slide it on, it slides across and it drops little teeth into that to grip on. So it doesn't slide off. You don't have to physically jam anything on, and they're nice and easy to switch around.
And with airlock, is it like an airlock on a spaceship? Is it
it's
a
brand name, Dave.
It's a brand name. Okay, see, look, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, trim router skin 240 volt, not a kit. Can the trim router be purchased without the kit? No, not at the moment. I've already asked Jeremy about that.
You'll be able to buy it without the plunge. It'll
Yes.
just come with the trim base, so the little alloy base.
Right.
It'll come with that. Mine actually sits in a little rocker station that I bought from Dave.
Right.
That sits in there, which is nice and easy.
The 18-volt trim router will be able to be purchased as a skin.
Yeah, as a skid, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. Awesome information, guys, of Weed Trimmer. Love it, love it, love it.
$2.99.
Okay, $2.99 for that trimmer. Great show. There's toys there that I want to get. We need the trim router as a skin, not a kit. I'm reading through.
Yep, $2.99 as a skin without the plunge.
Hi to Joker from Scotland, UK. Airlock sounds great.
Who won the eyemuffs?
Who won the eyemuffs?
I entered. Did I win?
No, sorry. No. Okay. I think I've got it here. And it'd be down here. Now I also wanted to read you out something from here, which is from Jay Evans. Jay won or put his hand up for some tickets to go to the Timber and Artesian show up at Brisbane. And he's just sent a thank you to me. A few people said thank you. This was really nice. Dear Dave, thank you so much for the free tickets. Ended up taking my wife and kids. We've come home with handmade chopsticks, other craft stuff, and got heaps of jarrah and other hardwoods. Time to do more projects after I watch your live show I missed today. Here's a picture of my kids making chopsticks. It was pretty hot there today. Thanks again. I didn't get the picture, but thank you very much for sending in that. It makes a huge difference. Don't forget, next week we will bring this back from the dead and from the person who will remain nameless. Who won? Who won? I think it was Deb Scott. I think that's the person. I will check, but I'm pretty sure that was. You will be getting an email from me saying you won the G6 eyemuffs. And this week, don't forget, we've got the trim router, and you've got that kit there, which is amazing. And this is for Australia only. Have you seen these things before? Battery-driven planes. I know Makita have got them, but it's just amazing to see them.
That's the only brushless one on the market.
That's the only brushless one on the market. You're quick to say that. So this kit here, am I doing my presenter's hands? This is going out to one lucky bastard in Australia. That'll be fantastic. And I own one of these kits, and you can get an 8mm collet.
Yes.
For these.
The 18-volt one will come with the 8mm collet.
The 18-volt model will come with an 8. Would you be able to get an 8mm collet as a retrofit to that particular machine?
I hope so. I'll find out.
If you could, that'd be great, because I know a lot of people who have Lee dovetail jigs, they need an 8mm shaft on the cutter, and that would make a huge difference. Okay, I think we're just about done. Charles, can you use an 18-volt battery in a drill that came with a 10-volt battery?
No.
A 12-volt battery? No, you'll blow the motor up. Eyemuffs. Yes, we've done that. Great kit, have one. Deb Scott, you're the winner. And thank you very much for coming, everyone. Let me see if I've got this. Intro and text. Here we go. Thanks for watching. Be nice to each other. Have a great week. Stay safe, and I shall see you next week. See you later from Jeremy as well.